Hey, and welcome to this behind the music look at a track I've called The Lynching, which is basically, it's the next kind of step in my horror movie writing journey. If you've watched the other video, you'll know that I've never done this kind of thing before. So this is kind of like, yep, next stages. Let's see what else I can do with those. Let's really utilize like the wild stuff that's in these improvisations and see what we can do with them. So let's play the track. You can see exactly kind of what's going on screen, and then I'll just take you through some of the stuff that I've done, some really interesting sort of like little techniques that I've used, some subtle stuff that you might not know about. So let's play it and then we'll go from there. So just a really short little cue that I wrote. Kind of had this feeling that, you know, it was like a lynching of just like, you know, like a small town mob going after this person that they finally caught, all sort of like brandishing fire torches and things like that. You kind of need to give yourself something to think about sometimes when it comes to this. And the first thing I did was basically use these bass ricochets, kind of like a D octave apart. But what I did to them was drop them down a whole octave, really just to draw out those like sort of like percussive sounds in there. So if I just play them at their normal pitch, sound really good like that. I love that rattle. That rattle of like the kind of like the bow on the fingerboard, really good. But then I was like, let's make this even darker. Took it down a full octave. Slows down like the bouncing of the bow, and then I played these in really loosely. Nothing of this, I mean, it's the composition says 120 beats per minute, but I've no idea what it is. It's basically I just played these in as I saw fit and as I was feeling them. Some of them kind of like, you know, hit you earlier in, you know, than you're expecting, and louder as well. So the first one's really quiet, really loud. And the second one's there. And you're trying to, I think by doing that, by playing them in loosely, your mind's trying to work out what the tempo is, but it's not being given one because there isn't a tempo. It's just, you know, these notes are just being played, you know, whenever, quite not randomly, but like, you know, you can sense that they're coming, but you can't sort of predict when they're coming or predict when they're going to be loud. So that's why a few of these at the beginning are much louder, just to try and catch you out a little bit. And then the viola at the top is using these improvisations B1 with just like two notes next to each other. And that's the really good reason that these sound good, is because we've recorded every single note. Like a lot of libraries are just recorded every other note, and some of the other other articulations are just recorded every other note because that's all they need to be. But the improvisations, we recorded every single note. So when you jam them next to each other, you're hearing two different performances. You're not hearing the same note just doubled up. So it makes it sound really, really interesting. So we've got viola B1 at the top, viola C1 next. Playing this really wild note. all sorts of different velocities there. I'm using every single velocity available to me. Viola B2. And again, just letting these notes play out and letting them create their own sort of tension and things like that. It's really, really, really good. B1. Just letting it do its thing, basically. Don't take away from it. False harmonics. Quite a piercing sound that is. I love it. Sul Pont. Again, just trying to make this as angular and kind of like, you know, an attack on the ears as possible. And then these viola spiccato notes as well. Again, not played to a grid, not quantized. I was just playing them in just to kind of like get the feeling. So again, just like really like sort of random on the rhythm of them. Sort of like being really loose and really sort of like just relaxed about them, really. And then this Sul Pont soft on Cello Untamed. Sounds crazy. That to me sounds like a motorbike on the motorway. So the cool thing that I've done with these that you might be able to start to hear there is that the cello, I've got a pitch shifter on there, which basically changes from minus 50 cents to plus 50 cents over the whole course of the note. So you see it's gradually changing, and your ear's not going to be able to necessarily hear that, but I think you'll be able to feel it definitely without necessarily know what's going on. And then the pan, you'll see this pan here is slowly panning from one speaker to the other. So it's changing its tension and moving where it is on the field as well. And then the Sul Pont's viola and the false harmonics are doing the same thing. So those are both pitch shifting, but they're doing the opposite. So they're pitch shifting. You can see down here from 50 cents higher to 50 cents lower. So they're like the cello and the viola are doing this basically. And then the violas are both basically doing the opposite thing in the speakers. They're starting off on the left-hand speaker, and then over the course of those whole notes, they're getting lower in pitch and then going across to the other speaker. So the cello and the viola at the same time are sort of like doing that and doing that at the same time. It's quite a nasty thing to listen to. It's not like a pleasant experience, but then that's what this kind of music should do, isn't it? Is kind of like give you that uneasy sense of like, you know, something is happening and something isn't right. So that's what I wanted to do with it, is those notes sounded good on their own, but then just adding those subtle pitch changes and that pan change over the course of the piece really adds to that uneasy, unnerving feel. In terms of mixing, not really a lot really. Just Concert Hall Vienna is my favourite reverb of all time. Absolutely love this thing. So there's just a bit of that on all of these. I think on the Spiccato as well. Yeah, I've added, again, it's my favourite plug-in at the moment is Echo Boy. Let's just play that on its own. It's just a lot. It's not like a heavy amount of it, but it just adds something extra to the signal. And then on these bass as well, I've got a compressor, which is basically doing quite a lot. Just mainly bring out those like sort of like percussive elements that are on the fingerboard. This one in particular at the start. Sort of like you can really hear the tail end of that sample because there's quite a lot of compression on it. So I think that's it. It's quite a simple track in its essence. There's a lot of, you know, clashing notes and stuff in there. Loads of use of all of the different velocities in all of the improvisations. And those just like subtle little things I've done to the notes that you wouldn't necessarily hear or you wouldn't pick out, but they're there to give you that really uneasy sense that, you know, something isn't quite right, something is wrong that's happening here. So I've really enjoyed it. This is like, you know, this is a journey for me, definitely, is writing this kind of music. And it's still a lot of fun. This didn't take me very long to write at all because it was so easy just to get some really crazy sounds and really interesting stuff really quickly with these. So that's it. If there's more that you want to know about this, or like, you know, what you know, comments that you want to know about this, then drop them obviously below. If you've liked what you've seen here and you're getting a lot out of it, then give us a like because that really helps us out. But apart from that, hope you're all well and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.